Hi, my name is Catherine Okumu. I'm a member of Group 10. We are going to be discussing Ekeza Sacco, and we're going to look at three aspects. I'm going to be looking at the introduction and the financial distress that the Sacco went through. My next colleague is going to handle the regulator's response to the issues that the Sacco experienced, and yet another member of the group is going to look at the last part. So thank you, and let's do this.
Ekeza Sacco is joined at the hip with Gakuyu Real Estate. That is precisely the genesis of its troubles with the licensing authority.
After we did the inspection, we told Ekeza, separate these two entities completely. That company, let it be on its own. If a member of Ekeza Sacco wants to buy a plot in Gakuyu, let him come to Ekeza, borrow money on his own, and take it to Gakuyu to buy. No commingling of resources.
The commissioner claims Bishop Ngari, the chairman of both Gakuyu Real Estate and Ekeza Sacco, was given sufficient time to separate the two entities, but he did not comply. Further, Ekeza Sacco did not also conduct the annual general meeting as required of all cooperatives by the law.
And you must always hold your AGM. Because if you're not holding the AGM, who are you doing this business for?
But how much was Ekeza Sacco worth?
If the accounts were audited, I would now be having a very clear picture of what is happening. I would be knowing who does what, how much they get, what assets they have, what liabilities they have. But now in the absence of that, I will not be able to tell. So that's one of the requirements. When I said compliance, those are the key things of compliance. They might not actually, maybe, Ekeza has not swindled has not defrauded anybody. But the mere fact that we don't have that, for the safety of members' funds, is why we are doing that.
The Commissioner for Cooperative Development, however, assures members of the public who had invested with the deregistered savings and credit cooperative that there is no cause for alarm as their money is safe.
Whatever is there will be frozen.
The dissolution process begins in 2 months.
At 1.2, ilikuwa the price by then. Therefore, the man who is sitting here had calculated for me at 600,000 nyumba itakuwa imemalizika. Nataka kuambia kulingana na engineer na kwa mchome huyu. Ondo ushingotini. And then the land ambayo tulikuwa tunajenga pia na transport mahali material ziko, there is a distance kubwa sana. Kuna mambo mengi sana ambayo hatukuangalia for that. Na ndio vizuri mko hapa mtuchome, but that price cannot work again. That price cannot work again. It's not workable. Now, why I choose to tell you that? I choose to tell you that because it is not workable.
Ekeza Sacco is an indigenous Sacco offering competitive rates on loans with flexible repayments to its members. The Sacco, in its business model, offers a range of credit products such as educational loans, emergency loans, and development loans to its members. And the repayment terms are very flexible, and the only collateral required here are the deposits that are made by the members of the Sacco. The Sacco also operates a housing scheme under Gakuyu Real Estate Company. They're working together. In this scheme, the members are actually required to just contribute or deposit 10,000, and the subsequent amount for the house ownerships are paid after a given period of time. This is to just enhance some of the benefits the members of the Sacco would get. Other than the loans, they get to own property, real property. So this Sacco, having been in operation for some time, had made like 2 billion had received 2 billion in loans, had given out 2 billion in loans, and also had 2 billion in deposits from members. And problems started coming into the Sacco when numerous complaints by members who were unable to either access loans or receive refunds for their deposits were reported to the commissioner for the cooperative development societies. Some of the problems that arose among the members was that the information that was given to the members about the homes or the pieces of lands were actually wrong. For instance, several members had been told that the properties they were paying for were 30 minutes drive from CBD in Nakuru, while actually the lands were up to 3 to 4 hours drive from the CBD, thus giving the members very wrong information. Another problem was that some members heard about this circle and the initiative and the benefits of it online through radio stations and television, and they decided to pay money, the deposits. And what happened is that after paying the deposits for land, they later came to realize that there were no demarcations for individual plots. So that means the monies that they had paid were actually not channeled into their own property as members of the circle. To add on to the problems, there were also issues that arose where members were unable to obtain loans, and some members who'd put their money into the circle were not able to get refund after being dissatisfied by the services. So these problems were quite a number, because the total number of members that were affected were up to 7,000. And what happened is that the members of the circle came together and reported these issues, the problems they were having, to the corporate board that's governing the cooperative societies, the circles, and that is when now the circle was taken to court, and the circle was taken to court, and the commissioner for cooperative society development decided to register the circle. Yeah, basically that's the introduction.
My name is Margaret Muley. I'm going to be taking you through the companies and the regulators' response in this particular case. The regulator was the Commissioner for Cooperative Development. The regulator deregistered the Ekeza Sacco and ordered its liquidation and utilization of proceeds to pay its creditors. The process was, however, subject to appeal within 30 days. In response, the Sacco filed a suit to appeal at the High Court to set aside the decision, which they noted was in bad faith. Gakuyo company hired people to demonstrate against the deregistration. The two parties later reached an agreement out of court, which saw the Sacco withdraw its suit at the courts, while the regulator also set aside its decision to deregister and liquidate the Sacco. Though not publicly available, an out-of-court settlement is expected to, among other things, include a framework for the Sacco to streamline its operations to suit and comply with the requirements of running a Sacco. This includes separation of operations from those of Gakuyo Real Estate to prevent instances of conflict of interest, and seeking of fresh licensing mandate to operate in multiple locations.
My name is Clem Dege. I'm going to discuss on the third aspect of the assignment, which was on the linkage of the distress in question with corporate governance. So the first aspect was the failure of the company to do some bookkeeping, which is essentially meant to give like an overview of the position of the company in terms of finance and stability. And then the second aspect was that the company did not hold any annual general meeting as required by the regulator, which is the cooperative society. Also, the Sacco was licensed to operate in one county, that is Starehe in Nairobi, but it had opened other offices in places such as Murang'a, Kiambu, Mombasa, Nakuru, and even had diaspora clients. Actually, by the time it was being closed down, it had about 5,000 diaspora members. The other aspect was that the company did not have a management structure, which is very essential for the corporate governance aspect for it to run properly. And also, the last aspect to the district that in question is that the member, the Ekeza Sacco started as an employee scheme but it had opened the operations for other guys to join in that it had, by the time it was being registered, it had about 62,000 members, which was way above the allowed 338 members for the company.